What up? What up?
We back to back, starting before midnight. Yo, we started on the day you got here. That's just been the goal. Just start the pod on the day you got here.
It wasn't the goal when I first got here.
It was.
We were supposed to start an hour and 50 minutes ago.
We don't got to talk about that. Let us take the dub,
Take the
bro.
win.
Let us take
It's the small wins, people. Small wins. Welcome back, everybody, to the Carpet Footman Podcast. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit them with a drink of the day.
Ooh, we got a little a vodka drink today, man. First on a couple fronts, man. First time we tried this vodka. First time this combination of stuff. It's super good, so good, and really simple. Like in a highball glass filled with ice, we just added 2 ounces of vodka, 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, 4 ounces of cranberry juice. Squeeze in a lime wedge. Top off with ginger beer. Stir that real nice. We garnish with a dehydrated grapefruit slice. But man, this thing is so good. And it was crazy how we tried it pre-ginger beer and post-ginger beer. Fuck. And we say this shit all the time here. Like, oh man, it literally changed. Somehow, man, the ginger beer made it sweeter. It's just weird. It was like balancing out the flavors because it was puckery before. It was like, you know, the grapefruit can be puckery and a really bitter taste.
Yeah.
The ginger beer somehow with that just made it this super sugary.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, man.
It's so good.
So I mean, it's sort of our rendition. We're gonna call it the carbon sea breeze. It is a sea breeze, like the ingredients are the sea breeze. But even in the ingredients for a sea breeze, it doesn't tell you to squeeze the lime in there. It's just
so
garnished
no lime juice at all.
with a lime wedge. We tried it like that.
Yeah.
We tried it with the lime squeezed in it, and it was better, but it wasn't perfect. And then when you chop it with the ginger beer, that hit it right.
No, this is the better version of it for sure. And so it's a carbon sea breeze. We had the carbon. Yeah, we always do the ginger beer or whatever our takes are on the old fashions. One day we're gonna drop a recipe book, and it's just gonna be 99 recipes with ginger beer in it, and 47 old fashions variations.
And if you're gonna use ginger beer, definitely if you have it near you, the Fever Tree ginger beer, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because Fever Tree has become one of those things like, and not even that it's hard to find, but they don't carry a lot of it in stock in the local grocery store. So whenever they have it, you know, you just end up buying, like, especially they do the BOGOs at Publix, end up buying a bunch, and you end up having a shit ton for a while, and then you burn through it in like a day, where you just, you know, you drink a little more than usual.
Get some people over the house, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's awesome. But yeah, this is good, man. I like this a lot. And shout out to Jason Momoa, man. This Meili, we use this Meili vodka.
But yeah, spell that because I don't even know if we're pronouncing it correctly.
Meili. So Meili, I don't know how. So Meili, Meili vodka. It's evidently it's Montana Aquifer Spring Batch 01. So we have the first batch, and then distilled from grains. But yeah, this is Jason Momoa's brainchild.
Aquaman,
we did Aquaman. We did a taste test with Grey Goose and this side by side, and we're not gonna tell you which one's better, but shit, this held its own. I mean, I think we both kind of felt like this
by the melee.
When we started talking about price point and flavor and all that stuff, and vodka, like admittedly, I'm not like a huge vodka person. I feel like I can never tell the difference in flavors where a lot of the other like alcohols I can, but I also think I just don't drink a lot of vodka, so I wouldn't know yet. This I can't describe it, but there's a taste to it that like there's a flavor profile in there where I'm like, oh, that actually tastes different.
No, it's good.
But so yeah, try that out, and like you said, and the price point on this, especially compared to Grey Goose,
like around $30.
Yeah, that's awesome, and bottle of Grey Goose are the same thing. Probably gonna bring you $40. So
yep.
And I think we both felt like if we blind taste tested those, like this one was the
I would
winner.
have taken this one. At least today.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Maybe we had too much already by the time we But so shout out to Jason Momoa, man. It's a great vodka.
Yeah, and I had no idea that it was his. I had to leave it to you to read the fucking fine print up there.
Dude, because I'm a dork. I read everything on labels and histories and stuff, and then I go down these rabbit holes. Like it's like I have to know the who and the why. And
And when you said Jason Momoa, we looked it up.
Yeah.
We looked it up to see, right? And sure enough, it is.
Could have just been some guy named Jason Momoa.
Yeah, right. He's definitely the actor is definitely part of this.
Yeah, man. So shout out to them with good vodka. I know a lot of celebrities tend to get into spirits.
Yeah,
like I feel like almost all of them, and we've tried a bunch on here, and there have been some that have executed really well. Like The Rock with his tequila, they've executed well. Kevin Hart's tequila, I thought was good also. I don't know if we've tried. I've tried it. I have a bottle, but I don't know if we did it on the pod. Okay. I feel like we did.
I know we did Clooney's.
Yeah, Clooney's. That's a good tequila. Yeah. The Dos Hombres with the mezcal. I don't think we've done that on here though. Actually, nah. I think maybe we still need to do that on here. But
what did we do last week? Which one did we do last week? We did a mezcal.
Oh, we did a mezcal. It was the Clooney's brand though.
The Casamigos. Yeah. That's right.
Also, I'm glad you brought that up. Last week we were trying to talk the difference between mezcal and tequila. So every tequila is a mezcal.
Okay.
Sorry. Every tequila is a mezcal. Every mezcal isn't tequila. So tequila has to come from that very specific agave plant. Whereas I can't remember what the name of that agave plant is right now, but every agave plant or every spirit made from that specific agave plant is considered a tequila. Every spirit made from agave is considered a mezcal. So that's the difference, is like if it comes from this specific species of agave, it's tequila. If it comes from just agave in general, it's considered a mezcal.
Oh shit, okay.
So that was like, I knew there was like a differentiator, and it was like one thing I couldn't remember what it was, but yeah. So
and it is a distinct different taste.
Yes. So every tequila would be considered a mezcal. Every mezcal is not considered a tequila. Is probably the easiest way to remember it. It's the specific, it's all agave. There's a very specific agave from a very specific region in order for it to be considered tequila.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, man. Listen, let me hit you up on my carbon footprint this week.
Let's go.
I don't even know who I'm actually giving it to.
No.
There was a situation this past weekend. The Eagles played the Packers. So Philadelphia Eagles played the Green Bay Packers in Philadelphia. If you know, and I know we talked about this before on here.
Yep.
Philly fans are crazy.
Yeah.
And Philly fans have been, they are very passionate, and I don't care if it's the Eagles, if it's the Phillies, if it's the 76ers, if it's the Flyers. Like the Philadelphia fans are on a whole different level.
Yeah.
So they had the NFL playoffs this weekend, Philly against the Packers. And there was an incident where this guy, Ryan Caldwell, was caught on camera repeatedly telling. So he's a Philly fan.
Okay.
You know, like he lives in Philly. Was there with his boys and his brother, and they're sitting by these Packer fans, and they're talking shit to, at least as far as the video is concerned.
Yeah.
He's talking shit to this Packer fan lady in front of him. And he's repeatedly calling her an ugly, dumb cunt. Okay? So she's there, and they're talking about the game, but then he's almost going like, oh, yeah, you see what happened? Like, shut the fuck up, you ugly, dumb cunt. Like, that kind of shit. Oh,
damn. Yeah.
Right? This is caught on camera by the chick's boyfriend. So by this woman's boyfriend that's there. And the boyfriend confronts him and is basically like, dude, like, don't talk to her like that. Don't call her that. He proceeds to do it again. The boyfriend is wearing a body camera, which is odd, which later comes out that this dude was like, he's like a Packer fan, and he kind of has like these GoFundMes to like, hey, I'm gonna go like into the belly of the beast and go in the fucking, Philadelphia stadium and as a Packer fan, and I'm gonna get the shit and I'm gonna record it all. I'm gonna get my clicks.
And in Philadelphia, if you're gonna get, if there's anywhere where you're gonna get an interaction with fans, it's gonna be in Philadelphia.
Absolutely,
because they don't have anything else to care about. Yeah.
So. The guy catches it on camera, right? It goes viral. This guy, Ryan Caldwell, which is the Philadelphia fan, loses his job, bro. Like, gets fucking fired.
Because he's on camera calling her thing, and then, And
so I'm looking at this, man, and I'm going like, like I already know Philly fans, they known for being wild. They'll fuck shit up when their team wins.
Does he work in Philly?
I think so.
I'd be surprised that a place in Philly had that much, felt compelled to fire him.
Well, apparently he works for a company called BCT Partners, and they are like a DEI consulting company.
Okay.
So was it diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Right.
So I guess they do that. So he was fired from his job, and he was banned from all future events at Lincoln Financial Field.
So was it for harassment? What was the specific thing that he's banned for? Like,
I think it's just because of that. I think that went viral of him being obnoxious.
Was it the ugly part of the part? I need specifics.
I mean, allegedly, he could be right on both accounts.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. He could be right. So which part are we? Philly people don't give a fuck, bro.
But bro, it wasn't about the Philly thing. I just go, yo, we have to, in this day and age, man, with cameras and even with audio, right? With us,
yeah.
It's like to know that you could lose your job for being recorded saying or doing something that your employer doesn't agree with. Like there's no more I'm off of work. It's like because of the cameras, you are essentially a representation of your employer no matter where you are. And I feel like that's kind of bullshit.
I hear what you're saying. I don't know that I necessarily think that applies in this scenario. And the only reason I don't think that is because I think there's a distinct difference between like them not agreeing with like a stance, whether it's politically or how you feel, right? I think it's different if you are presumably just, I think your intention matters, right? But so if you're like a game going like, hey, you're an ugly, dumb cunt, I think it says more about the caliber of human being that you are, that you're just yelling at somebody for no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
but does it interfere with your ability to do your job?
Maybe not, but I think if you're a company, like let's say you're a privately held company, right? Like, and you own one, and you see a video of your employee calling people ugly, dumb cunts, and they're a representative of your company, right? Like, you have to, like, I think it's the idea
matters.
Of like, hey, it matters. Like, I don't want how you represent yourself to be a representation of like, hey, you know this guy stands for this because he's on camera.
Right.
And so this must mean that this is what your company is in support of.
Right. So
I think
totally
that's different from like, hey, he's anti fucking, I don't know, whatever, pick a political stance. Like, I think that's different.
And I agree. But 20, 30 years ago, this doesn't happen. Right? He's at a game.
Because you don't have the camera.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just like, so we're in a day and age now where just like everything is being recorded. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, we do these podcasts, right?
I just think it's harder to hide being a piece of shit. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's harder.
But should you have a right to be a piece of shit when you're not on the clock?
But you do. You just don't have the right to the job. Right? Like, you have a right to be a piece of shit. Like, you're not going to jail for it. You know, I think, right? But then I also have the right to not want to employ a piece of shit. Like,
but who you are at work and who you are out of work, like, should you not be allowed that differentiation?
No, I think you should. I guess to me is like, I agree kind of with both sides. Like, I think
I can see both sides.
I think you
I don't necessarily
should
agree with both sides.
See, like, I think you're free to say and do whatever you want.
But you're not free from the...
So am I.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that, like, you have to then stand 10 toes on you're going to be a piece of shit like that and cause... Like, you're a grown-ass man calling some woman... I'm going to assume she didn't do anything to deserve this other than wearing a Packers jersey or whatever. And you're just going to sit there and call her an ugly white cunt or whatever the fuck, like...
Just an ugly cunt.
Yeah, just ugly.
Yeah.
There's no white. All right,
no
whatever.
Sorry, ugly dumb cunt.
A dumb cunt. That's what it was. I know there was another piece in there. But like, if you're gonna call her somebody that shit, like, I don't know. There's. Do you want to be associated with that if you're his employer? For like, it's not even. I would almost accept if they just got into a fight over some other shit and there was a disagreement. I could be like, bro, can you make a better decision and just walk away? The fact that you're just name calling some lady who's just cheering on her team is like. That says a lot about you as a person. Like,
And so this guy, he did issue a public apology, but he did go on to say hey, there's like two sides to every story, right? Which I think there's actually three sides to every story. It's like yours, mine, and the truth.
Yeah, right. And who knows what she said, right? Like, and the husband has a video that he's kind of keeping to himself, right?
And the other thing was, he goes, there's two sides to every story, and he goes, there was a lot of provoking during the game that you guys didn't see on camera.
Yeah, and that part I would say like valid, right? Like you don't know what was said to him that kind of like prompted him to say that.
Dude, that's
knowing
the
people
shit,
from Philly, I'm gonna say she didn't say nothing. I know enough people from Philly. I've been to Philly games. I'm gonna tell you right now, they didn't say shit to him. That's just what people from Philly sound like and talk like.
You say you went to a
I went to a Phillies game right? in fucking July, bro.
And like on like a random Tuesday
on
or some
Tuesday,
shit?
And I remember it was specifically a Tuesday. They were playing the Marlins, who were trash. The Phillies were also trash at the time. The game was sold out. There was fights in the stands. It was pandemonium, and I loved it. But I gotta tell you, Philly people ain't got nothing else to care about. Like,
now, did you go there with a Marlins jersey on?
No, nothing, right? Bro. I just went.
That's probably the best thing, bro.
And people were just fucking wrecked. I might have worn a Yankee hat though. Now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah,
like I'm pretty sure I did. I think so. Knowing me, yeah. So I walked around Boston for days with a Yankees hat on, bro. I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
you get a lot of comments in Boston.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I got a lot. I got a cop that said like, bro, if something pops off,
I can't help you.
I'm not helping you. Yeah, he's flat out. But then he was cool about it. He sat next to me and talked to me.
So that's like, cool.
Yeah. Like I will say, as much shit as I give people from Boston, the people were super cool. They all gave me shit about the hat. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And talk shit and ripped at me. And like I said, like I think more than one cop. There's a dude on the train that gave me shit. But they were all kind of in jest, like you could tell. You know, they made it a point to call it out and joked with me and like sat and talk. And I'm like, I'm gonna assume if you're not gonna stand next to me and like talk and then talk shit. And then we got into baseball shit, like if you weren't trying to like have a conversation, it wasn't just like fuck you, you know, like right. No, they were actually cool. Philly people, bro. There's a reason there's a jail in the stadiums in Philly. There was fights, like literally fights breaking out.
What's the old
Lincoln?
Lincoln is now the vet.
The vet. Yeah. There's one in.
There was a judge.
Bank Park.
There was a jail and a judge in the vet stadium.
Yo, when your city has to do that, y'all gotta look inwards, bro.
All right, so
yeah.
Going back to that, right? And you going like from an employer, like I get it.
Yeah.
Right. What about? Did you see that shit in Ohio? Because I feel like this kind of goes along with it.
No.
In Ohio, there's this, and I don't know where the hell it is in Ohio, but it got caught on camera again. There was a car that stops. There's a car behind them. The person in the front, a lady, gets out of the front car, goes back to confront the person in the car behind her. Goes to the driver's side. Believe there's a woman driving. She's over there knocking on the window and yelling at her and talking shit. The guy, I don't know what it is, boyfriend, husband, other, whatever, that's in the passenger side, gets out of the car, confronts the woman, and it's just like, yo, like, you know, whatever. And the woman is fucking yelling at him. They say words. The guy turns around to go back to his car, so turns his back to the woman, and she fucking clocks him. Like, I don't know if it was a punch or a slap, but from behind, clocks him.
She hits him.
She hits him. Dude turns around, goes after her, and fucking slams her on her neck in the fucking street, on the pavement.
I think I saw the video.
You seen this shit?
I think so. It's snowing or it's ice outside, right? Yeah. Okay, I did see the video.
You get fired for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see that shit? If you're an employer, are you like, so I guess my point is like, are you not allowed to be a fucking phenomenal employee and then have an outside experience?
Well, if you're a phenomenal employee, you're not getting fired.
They let that shit slide?
Bro, homie from the Phillies game could call everybody a cunt if he's performing. That was just the reason
I've been dying to fire this motherfucker.
We talk about this show all the time. Is like, there's no such thing as like fair, right? Like when it comes to work on your employees. Like, it's like, you think if that guy's the number one performer, they're not keeping him around? Like,
I don't know, bro. To be honest, I mean, good point, but I don't know.
I think they are, bro. Yo, if you're a sales guy, right, for whatever company, and you're the top grossing sales guy, and if you get fired or you leave or whatever, this company has to go, oh, we might lose that business to our competitor, right?
Right. But you're also the guy that now has gone viral for this thing, and they're sending you in to sell. And if somebody on the other side goes, "Oh, you're the guy that they're choosing to represent them,"
sure,
company?
But that goes away when the next story goes viral. Like, to
Agreed.
me,
Agreed.
You know, the
So
news
you just-
cycle is very short. I just let it die.
So
you move on.
Yeah, so you don't fire the
Yeah,
guy.
right.
Let it fucking die down, and then he pops back up like
Yeah,
nothing never
back
happened.
up and go. Right. But if
Just
you're
let the next mass shooting happen.
right, exactly, and that's in 15 minutes.
Next week. I was gonna say next week.
Nah, bro.
But you probably
bro.
right.
One happens like every 32 seconds. But I think that they're just going to use that as the excuse to get rid of. Bro, if you're a top performing employee, you could shoot your boss's daughter in the middle of the lobby. He's going to be like,
Rub some Robitussin on it.
like, you kind of get what you put in. You know?
That's true, man.
And also, like, bro, there is shit too. I think there's a climate, and I think we're a little bit out of it now. You know, like where the sensitivity or like the quote unquote woke shit or whatever was like high, and so companies were like hypersensitive to like the scrutiny of like, oh, how dare you employ this? You know, right? I think we're sort of like getting away from that now because I think we're all kind of sick of it being. I guess the sensitivity to that level, but dude, there are. It's not lost on me that some shit I say on this could cost me my job, like, or that I could get called in one day and then be like, hey, like, apologize for X,
right?
And then I gotta be me and be like,
cease and desist.
Nope. Like. It's funny because I remember when we first started saying this, like I would watch like what I would say. I'm like, like how do I want to like do this? And then it became more important to be like, all right, the authenticity of like what I say is, do I think I say anything that wild? No. But somebody else might disagree with me, right? Like somebody employee might disagree with me. The other thing too is like we say a lot of shit here in sort of like the joke to us wins over everything,
it's the satire,
right?
Man.
It's satirical, and so how someone might like you might listen to us, or you might take a clip that we put out on our socials. Which, by the way, go ahead and follow our socials, and that's the best way you guys can support us. So hit our socials, make sure you comment on there and all that. But somebody might take that, and it might go viral, and it might say, "Hey, Juan's a misogynist," or fucking Sean, thinks that kids should be shot in schools, or like it's like. If you don't know me and you don't know my intent, you might really believe that. But like to me, I'm at peace knowing like, hey, the people that really know me, the people that talk to me every day, the people that like know what I'm actually like, and to me, like whether right or wrong and a character flaw, like the joke wins over everything, right? And so I'm gonna make the joke at the expense of people thinking anything about me, because I'm gonna be like, oh, I thought that shit was funny.
And it's never too soon.
And it's never ever, right? Like ever. So it's like I know. At some point, that shit's going to come back to bite me. And I may not think it's fair, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to go, yeah, either they're going to use that as an excuse, like someone's going to use that as an excuse, like for whatever reason, because they get the out, or it's just not funny to everybody, right? And again, I have to understand that. Like, because I'm a big proponent of like, yo, just change the channel. But there's some circumstances, I guess, that you put yourself in a predicament where it's like that person can't just change the channel. They're like, they're sort of like, they have your, I don't want to say your future, but they have your livelihood or whatever in their hands, and they can make the decisions based on that. And I have to live with that too, right? Like I don't know, man. I kind of get both sides here, and I get what you're saying. It's like, man, you have to be extra careful, like in anything you do.
It's like anything you do,
because you can make a mistake as a drunk dude. Like I'm sure I've done shit that I'm not proud of, like in the heat of a moment in the game. And I'm me. I talk a lot of shit, and I'm sure I've said some wild stuff that if a camera was on when I've said certain things, people might go, "Yo, this guy's a piece of shit." Like, and it's just me talking shit. Like, I don't know.
And listen, man, just for the record, I believe that when a kid is 2 years old, you can hit him in the throat or the stomach. Shout out to Bernie Mac.
Or get shot at a preschool.
Dude, sometimes without shit, that's like we joke about, like last week, we talked about the LA fires. And and I joked about it being like gentrification.
Yeah.
Bro, the more shit that I read about these fucking fires, I'm going like, you asked it as a joke? I'm for real now. You started believing it? Yeah, I'm fucking for real.
This is Tenement Square all over again.
So I'm just sitting back watching the shit that I fucking joked about and going, oh, fuck, I was right.
Like, yo, I was saying that shit as a joke. Bro, that shit has been wild. I do think it's funny. I laugh at the conspiracy theories. Like, I've seen so many wild conspiracy theories about the way the trees are burning or whatever the fuck. And it never comes from people who are intelligent, like or successful or anything. Like, I think people who feel
it's the fucking greeter at Disney.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to say who it is because it'll be so easy. Like, if there's somebody who knows me, to like, but I feel like anybody who's disenfranchised or who feels like they're a loser, but like we all know that loser.
They're a loser.
But yeah, I was trying to be nice.
Do people believe that, bro?
No, bro.
About themselves?
No, the problem is that I think people do, but they're not self-aware enough, or they are self-aware enough, but it's easier to blame other like outside things. Like we all know that loser who's like blames the government or blames everybody but somebody himself as to why his circumstances suck, right? Yeah. Like we all know people like that. We all know several people like that. All the crazy conspiracy, and listen, I believe in conspiracy theories. I think there's a reason, they exist or whatever. I'm sure there's some, but sometimes you hear
they're probably all based in some truth.
Sure, but sometimes I can't help but notice all the conspiracy theories come from people who have to feel like, there's always somebody out to get you. Like, it can't just be, you know what I mean? And I've seen some wild ones about the fires, man. Like, wild conspiracy theories about the fire where I'm like, no, man, trees just burn that way. Like,
yeah. All right, man, hit me with your comment footprint. What you got?
Bro, I was giving mine. I got fucking hiccups here. You're going to hear me go crazy during the thing. But, dude, Nick Saban.
Okay.
Who was obviously head coach of Alabama, retired now.
Commentator.
ESPN analyst. I was trying to think
of Fox ESPN. Or somebody. Yeah.
Anyway, Steve Sarkisian, who's the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, played in that semifinal game this past week.
You really do have hiccups.
I do have hiccups. I feel like a drunk.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to try to laugh.
No, it might help me get rid of them.
If I interrupt you because I'm fucking shaking over here, don't mind me. Sorry, Steve Sarkisian.
I'm like a goddamn. Oh man, I'm gonna laugh. We're gonna have to pause this shit so I can get over my hiccups. Anyway, oh fuck. Steve Sarkisian played head coach in that game recently. He found out he had some crazy heart defect recently. Like he has.
Oh, really?
I think we all have 3.
And he's not young, right? I mean, he's in his 50s. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think 50s. Yeah.
I mean, he's not. I'm saying he's not like 25.
No, but he was. Sarkisian had. I mean, he's had a crazy history or whatever. If you go look at, like had some issues with alcohol and whatever, got some second chances kind of thing. Nick Saban hired him as an offensive coordinator out Alabama. They won a national title together. But through that, Steve Sarkisian winds up finding out that he has 2 valves in his heart. You're supposed to have 3. He went his whole life. To your point, he's not old, but he's not young.
Yeah.
He ends up finding out that he has this. God damn it. I'm over here like
the old Tom and Jerry commercial cartoons when they're fucking drinking and it's the hiccups, right? That's how they would show drunk people in cartoons back in like the 70s and 80s, that they fucking just hiccup. I've never had that, and so watching you do it is fucking phenomenal. You want me to do all my stories first?
I know exactly what you're talking about too. He had.
Sorry, go.
I guess I'm laughing now, which makes them come again. Every time I think I got rid of them. me, man.
Sorry, Steve Sarkisian.
Anyway, he ends up working for Nick Saban as an offensive coordinator at Alabama.
Okay, go.
Nick Saban has this thing where he makes all of his executives take what he calls an executive physical. They go to Birmingham. They get like a full body physical.
Okay.
Heart, lung, whatever, blood work, the whole nine, scans, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, through that, he ends up finding out he has this defect that he lived with his whole life, didn't know, but it was getting to the point where they're like, yo, it's going to kill you. Like, or you're going to be in a really uncomfortable situation or whatever. Nick Saban has rolled that out to his entire staff every year because his dad died at like 46. And he was like, I lost my dad young.
Shit.
Because of that, I've made it a point to sort of prioritize health and all this shit. And so I make all these guys did that because more importantly is you need to be around for your family and all this stuff. And so the reason Nick Saban was like, man, it saved Steve Sarkisian's life. Who else has done this for? But also like, if Sarkisian doesn't get this opportunity, like Sarkisian has affected so many kids, not
Oh,
at this point in time.
bro.
So is a lot of people in Nick Saban's staff. So you know, like
It's like the pay it forward shit.
right, and he gets a lot of shit for being a hard ass, and he is, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like I didn't know this about it, and he's been in the spotlight for however, like Nick Saban and Sarkisian was like, man, I owe him my life. I would have never found out. I would have only found out through having some major heart, emergency. Because of this routine thing that he makes us do, I found out he made us do it because of an experience that he had that was obviously life altering and traumatizing and all that stuff. Like,
so if you go back, right, it's almost like Nick Saban's dad through sacrifice, but not willing sacrifice, has affected one person who then now affects a few other people, right? Well, several people on his staff who then go on to affect the lives of young men.
yeah.
Like that pay it forward, right? If you're that guy, if you're Nick Saban's dad, and if somebody goes, yo, you're gonna go through this shit, like if you know ahead of time, you're gonna go through this shit and you're gonna fucking die at 46. But the impact of your death is gonna have these positive effects. Do you agree to it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you agree to it, but because we're not
wired like that, bro.
Like that.
No, we're not wired like that.
But like maybe the carbon footprint should be him, right? It's like, dude, I think too,
yes, Nick Saban's dad,
and then Nick Saban even going like, hey, because this happened to me, I want just even thinking that like how many people are in a position to do that and don't? There's plenty of people who've had, death in their family, young from a parent or whatever, or from somebody they were close to who are in executive position who don't do stuff like that. And, like, it's not that this was like I think the thing about this is like, it's presumably something really, really small that could go 20 years without making a difference. And then the one person, Steve Sarkisian has gone through a lot of shit, self-inflicted, right? And, like to be in a predicament like this, to get this opportunity, a second chance, if you will, with Nick Saban, and then have this thing that ends up ultimately probably saving his life.
right?
Then he becomes, the head coach to one of the most prominent college football programs in the country. Impacting not only just these lives, but getting his own life in order, getting this second chance. Now, it's like
Dude, I wonder. I don't even think that Nick Saban thinks that he thinks that it's a good thing. I don't think that he thinks it's such a big deal.
No, and
like
they asked him about it, and I saw his comment, and he was very, I don't want to say dismissive, but you could tell he just doesn't really want to take the credit for it.
Bro, we're all fucking like that, bro.
Yeah.
When we fucking do stuff that affects, and that's why, like, I know we do this, man. When there are things that you say to me, or things that happen between us where that I'm going like, yo, man, like I make sure that I tell you, like, yo, like this thing that you didn't think was shit, like this is how it impacted me, man, and like thank you, right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, without this podcast, I probably never know who my real father was. Think about that,
dude. That one's the one.
That's the grandiose one for me, right?
Dude, that's the one that if this never becomes anything or we don't do anything, like I've told people that story. Yeah, like I'm like that alone is just insane to me because obviously we never had any aspirations of doing anything else. And just to find that out is more than we could ever get out of something like that. Like,
absolutely, bro. And
we still got to drop that episode one day.
One day. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. But, bro, fucking, that, and it's not just that, right? So there's that piece where you could go like, yo, like doing this, revealed a truth to your friend, right? But what you don't even see is, which I told you, but it's like, you've answered, like knowing that has answered so many questions for me, and the impact that it had on my kids, and even me looking at my kids and going like, oh, like that's why you look the way you do. Even something as simple as that, like it answered so many questions of things from my childhood to things in my adulthood to even to my children. So my point of that is to kind of go back to this. It's just like, do shit and understand, like really look at the impact that you have on people. Like the things that we do fucking matter, man.
Yeah, man. And you just, it's funny, man, because like Nick Saban is going to be known, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, for like the on-field performance. And off the field, he's a hard ass. He's kind of robotic. And I think this is something like this. Obviously, this is not going to get played. It's not what people are going to remember him by. But arguably, the most impactful thing he's done is doing this because Steve Sarkisian just happens to be in the head coach of a prominent football team right now, so he's on the limelight. But who knows who else this has impacted, like in the staff over the last
that we don't fucking know
decade or two, or however long. Yeah, and then who it impacts going forward, wherever he is, because I can imagine no matter where he is, right, he's gonna implement some sort of this thing, or even if he's going, hey man, every year I used to do this, like you should do it, like just casually talking to a friend or his colleagues or whatever. Now someone's going to do it, man, and someone's going to get something out of it eventually.
Yep.
And it's something so small, I'm sure, that he thinks that's so routine to him. And it just goes to show, to your point before, like you just never know, like the shit that you say and what is actually going to matter to people. In terms of like truly, like we have so many, we stress so much about shit in life that doesn't fucking matter at all.
Nope.
And 99.999% of the decisions we make every day don't fucking matter. Like of the things we're stressed about don't matter at all. And then it's probably these throwaway decisions or things that we do and all that truly make an impact on, like, whether it's your kids, whether it's your colleagues, there's going to be the one thing in, 1,000 that you say or do or whatever that are gonna, and it's never the thing that you think of. Because I bet you Nick Saban probably wasn't. Obviously, he was like, "Hey, I want to make sure you guys are healthy." So part of him definitely thought like, "I want to make sure you guys are good to go."
It's a nice thing to do.
You're not thinking you're saving someone's life.
That's right.
Like to that extent. And his comment on it was kind of like, well, Steve saved my life a bunch of times by his performance on the field. He was kind of like trying to be dismissive of it, of like basically he kept my stress under control because he was good at his job kind of thing.
Right.
And to your point, like we all kind of do that. Like we're dismissive of compliments and stuff, but really, like Steve Sarkisian's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't be alive here without him. Let alone I was already grateful to him because he gave me the second chance, to be the offensive coordinator at Alabama, in the peak of, Saban's like run of just bulldozing everybody at a time where people didn't want to touch Steve Sarkisian. Like he had came off from being the head coach at USC and a couple of the programs, I think suffered with some alcoholism stuff in there in between, and had some other issues and maybe performance issues and all that. And then to get that opportunity to make the most of it, and then for that to happen to him, and now fast forward, head coach of Texas, and just where he's at in his life right now, man.
So, dude, so shout out to Nick Saban, Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's dad, who unknowingly did something, that had a really positive impact.
Like his death wasn't in vain. Your son used that, for sure. Right.
But let me use this opportunity to tell you something, man. And I wanted to bring this up when we did I don't know if it was like the last episode of 2024 or the first one of 2025. This is neither, but this podcast, we talked about it. We talked about doing it. We even ran the idea by even a third person, right? We actually like the action of starting it was because of you, right? And besides the things that I have found out about like my family from doing this, I've also been able to expose who I am to people who otherwise would not have known. Because when you and I talk on here, even though, yes, there are things that we omit from here, right? Of course. But the person that I am talking to you on this podcast is the person that I am.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't know who I am outside of work or, you know, whatever. And so I've been able to, and I'm like one of the fucking worst at like staying in touch and stuff like that. And I wish I could. I wish I was better at that. And
Me too.
And I really suck at it. But doing this pod has allowed people that are like in my family that I never call and I never talk to be able to listen and go, oh, that's what's going on with his life. Oh, that's what he thinks about this. So they almost like know me, and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool because even you've told me that people that know us both would, you know, when they hear about us doing a podcast, they're like, oh, like Sean talks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would like in like the work environments, right? Like I'm a man of few words, right? Like like I talk when I need to talk, but if I don't need to say shit, then I'm not saying anything. And on here, it's just us chopping it up and being personable. And this is who I am. This is like the real me. And because of you, there's people that are in my life that get access to that.
It's really weird, man, because like I don't like, I know we do this every week and we're recording and we post and we go to the like I forget that people actually listen. Dude, we have at least 1,000 downloads minimum a month on audio, right? Yeah. And you know, then we get like the YouTube and all that stuff out of it. And that's not a lot for like most podcasts, but it's still a lot. Like, and I mean 1,000, it's unique downloads. It's not like the same person listening and picking it up. And so it's bizarre to me, like that doesn't register that there's that many people listening. And then I'll get a random person all the time who will tell me stuff, you know, like even in my family, like I told you during the holidays, like, and shout out to my two cousins are like long haul truck drivers and stuff. And, you know, they both mentioned and mentioned like some episodes that they loved and all that stuff. And it's wild to me that people still listen like that. Like, I just never like, I don't know, man, like to your point before, like when I wanted to do it, it was just, I thought we had so much fun and we talked shit. And I was like, man, I feel like we got something just recording this and then doing it. Like I'd be like, I couldn't even tell you, like, I get when people say like, hey, I could have never imagined this in my wildest dreams, right? Like, because I don't even know that I thought of anything other than us talking shit. Like, I never thought like we'd get some like a grand revelation, or, you know, whether it's personality wise that people know, whether it's like the thing with your dad, or like that stuff is nowhere near.
No.
Like you know, like I think we always said like, hey, at worst our kids will get to have tape of us talking shit and listening to what we feel like are our grandkids about this moment in time in history, like at worst. And we were okay with that. We're like, you know, if
that was enough.
That was enough. Like, it's like 20 years from now, like, you know, 30 years, 40 years from now, we're going to have a documentation that our grandkids could go like, oh, I wonder what my grandfather thought about this thing. And it might have been, we could have been wildly wrong and stupid and ignorant. And I'm sure some of it will be. But it was still like, hey, you get to hear us. And, you know, it was a unique thing that generations before us didn't have. That, I think that was the only conversation we had about like what happens to like, we would have never thought any of this other stuff. Like the thing alone with like you finding out about your dad, like that's like something I've brought up with people in the past, going like, man, that alone is just would have made this whole thing worth it. If we do 3,000 episodes and never do anything else, it's like that would have been the coolest shit we were out of it. Like, because I
told that story like I want to say a week or two ago, man, to a coworker. I forget what we were talking about, man, but I mentioned the podcast, and then I mentioned that I think it was because the person I was talking to, his wife is Cuban, and I was like, oh shit, I used to be Cuban.
Que volar, said it. I used to be Cuban.
And then and I'm laughing in my head. I'm kind of laughing out loud. I'm laughing in my head, right? And he's just like silent, and he's fucking on the other side of the phone, and he's just like, "What do you mean?" Like.
I used to be. That's gotta be the most confusing shit ever.
It's like, "Oh, your wife is Cuban? I used to be Cuban."
Oh, it's so funny. Man.
And then I told them like, not like details, right?
But I transitioned. I no longer identify as Cuban.
Trans Cuban.
You're trans Cuban. I remember I used to tell you, I was like, nah, you black.
Yeah. And bro, you know how many times I heard that? Yeah. Throughout my life?
Like, yo, I'm part Cuban. You be like, yo, I'm part Cuban, Puerto Rican. Like, nah, bro.
Nah, nigga, you black somewhere.
Verbatim, that's my words.
I used to have this coworker back in the day, man, that used to tell me, they'd be like, man, you nigga Rican. No! Yo. If you guys,
we fucked it up.
If you guys are watching the fucking video, Juan just fucked up the whole set.
Oh, the whole set's done. I broke a bottle.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's all right.
There's bourbon literally at my feet.
On the floor. Wait, we gotta put the sign up. We can't do the pod without the sign. Hold on. We gotta. Broken glass there. Hold on. Wait.
Should we pause?
Nah, it's funner this way.
This nigga, he just picked up the glass that was holding the thing.
Oh man, I don't even know how that happened. I think I pulled the cord that was in there. No, because it's strapped under my seat. Oh man. Yeah, y'all might want to watch the video to this if you're on audio. or we might cut it.
Maybe
We're
not.
undecided. Yeah, maybe not. We might cut that part. Don't just cut to a part where the sign is closer. Oh fuck, man! That thing. I like that decanter too. That thing was cool.
Yeah, it was.
It's toast.
Yeah, fuck. All right, man. Anyway, let's change it up, bro. You seen your boy Donald Trump and Barack chopping it up?
Yo, they were going at it, man. I was not going at it like in a bad way, but like just chopping it up like chummy old pals, man, at a funeral.
Yeah, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, man.
I guess what'd you think of that?
So my whole thing was on that was like, it just shows that the political arena is just that. It's an arena. It's a WWE. Show.
It's wrestling.
It's a show, bro. It's a show. Yeah. Donald Trump is not a fucking threat to democracy. It's like, yo, when I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
What I'm saying? No, man. Like straight up, dude. Like, I can be cordial to somebody. Mm-hmm. But if I don't really like you, then I don't like you.
Yeah, I'm like that too, man. I thought that was a character flaw, so it makes me feel better to hear you say that.
Yeah, no, man. Like I can be in a place with somebody that I don't like.
Yeah,
but I ain't gonna talk to you.
Same. Yeah. Like I'm very. I mean, it's very well documented on this podcast how petty I am. Okay, but we talked about that all the time. But
listen, at the funeral, there wasn't a fucking assigned seating, bro.
Yeah,
they can sit wherever the fuck you want. And they chose to sit together.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know what was said, and but they were definitely being sort of chummy with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like that whole shit is just like what we talked about before during the election. Bro. It's like the important part to the political parties is just to win. And it's almost like win at any means necessary.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And so a lot of you folks out there during that presidential election time were, it brings out the worst in our fucking citizens, and like people stop fucking talking to you, or you fucking fight on social media.
And these guys are playing golf with each other.
Yeah. Dude, there was a bunch of shit when he got elected. There was a lot of shit where like people sort of changed their tune and was just like, all right, man, like almost like, well, I gotta be fucking nice, whether you like him or not. It's like, yo, I gotta be nice for the next fucking 4 years. I want a job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, yo, to I don't know, to me, I won't say to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. And it's like, I could work with you, but like, if I don't really fuck with you, but you invite me out, I'm just gonna tell you no.
I'm just gonna tell you no. Yeah, I have
I'm
that.
not gonna be an asshole about it.
No, me neither. Yeah. I have that thing too. It's like I'm not gonna be an asshole to you, but I'm just not gonna pretend like we're cool either. Like I'll be cordial. I'll go through my shit,
like,
but I'm not gonna.
We're not friends, bro.
We're not friends. Yeah. I have the same thing with like. Yeah, I think I did it in school. Like I'm not showing up to shit like events or whatever and pretend like I'm cool with everybody hanging out if I don't want to. Like I've done this in jobs where it's like, no, I'm not gonna pretend like I like you more than I do. Like I'm not.
Dude, it's the reason why I don't go to fucking like reunions and shit like that, man.
Yeah. Like because I don't care to.
Realistically, bro, there's gonna be there's like a select few people that I would go, oh, it would be fun to hang out with them.
Right.
And chances are they not going either.
Yeah, dude, the work one is difficult, right? Because you're like, man, it's one thing to pay me to hang out with y'all, but like when you have to do stuff like outside of work hours and you're like, do I really want to do this? Do I like these people enough to go do this? And then it's,
And that's dude, I like these people. Dude, if you're on TV calling me a threat to democracy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dude, I'm assuming that when you see me,
it's on site.
Like we're not speaking.
Yeah, right. No, it's theater, bro. It just goes to show like bullshit, this is theater. Bro. Like I think, for the other thing too, man, is you could talk about time and place, right? Like I think these are guys realizing that a funeral for guys probably isn't the time and place to be give any. I guess to do anything that's in poor taste, right? Like to be arguing or thing, but also like to your point, they didn't have to sit next to each other.
I'm not sitting with you, man. And what like he sat next to him.
Yeah, dude. If you're Barack, you gotta be fucking curious, right? Like you gotta be like, yo. Like I would have done the same shit.
How's Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, bro. Oh my God, bro. I would have sat next to him.
You still golfing down there?
Like, yeah, you still kill you? Yo, can I come through? They still trying to kill you? What's up? Security there is top notch because shit happens to me all the time.
You're like, wait a minute, you get invited down there? I'm like, nah, man, they're trying to shoot you down there.
What's good? Bro. It's January 6th. Why you here? You're not running it back. Pussy. bro, like man, these guys are, that's why I was like, I find it hilarious we're at each other's fucking throats over this shit. I'm like, bro, these guys are playing golf on their days off together and talking shit. And I know, but the Barack and Donald, this is probably the first time that they've really sort of had interactions like this together because they have sort of gone out at the past. Right, so we think, right, publicly. But again, I think it just goes to like, yo, that shit is theater. It's politics. That's what we do. We go at each other's throat. Bro. At the end of the day, like,
it's the Coliseum, bro.
It's right. It's that, and then because if you're Barack, you got to be like bro. If you're Trump, you're Barack, you're whoever. You got to want that next person in that seat to succeed, right? Like if you truly care about the country and being a public servant and all that, like no matter what the party is or whatever, or you gotta hope that person is well intentioned,
right?
At least
that makes shit a little bit better.
Yeah, so you gotta be in there, and also, bro, not for nothing, 46 other people in human history can relate to you. In the history of human beings, right? Like there's this like fraternity of these guys that
never thought about it that way,
bro. Like. You know how we all go through certain things that like might be personal that, and you're just like you assume you're the only one that can go through it, or bro, literally if you're president of the United States and the stressors that come with that and all that stuff, literally 40 something other people in the history of mankind can relate to that, can relate to the stress, can relate to you bitching more, like that. There has to be something,
or at least in the history of the U.S.
Right, in the history of the United, yeah, right. Like, dude, and not. Man, I would throw in every other country in there. I know we think we're the fucking greatest, and there's like a bias because we're here and we think we're the only ones that matter.
You're thinking about leaders throughout history.
World leaders throughout history, I would say, yeah, like there's only so many who have been there, but also only so many who have been there in the U.S. This is very different from anywhere else, right? Like there's a lot of places who've had like a dictator, a lot of places who've had, like there's very few people who have dealt with the experiment that is us, like in the same way, right? And so I would say that even being the one for the United States is unique from every other world leader.
Yeah.
And so there has to be like a fraternity there, and like a like, fuck, I can talk to you. There's references I can make to you that only you would understand. There's, like, we may disagree on how to get to a thing, but we all agree that the thing should be there, right? Yeah. Like, so like with these guys, man, you kind of get it, and I get when these presidents get. Dude, George Bush was fucking hated, and then became like beloved after. Like George Bush was probably okay, like going in. On his way out, people were kind of livid after the whole, like crash of the economy and all that. And now he's beloved. And a lot of the reason he's beloved because he's chummy with like, Barack and Michelle Obama and all this stuff. Right. And people got to sort of like humanize him, right? And see him as like a person laughing and making
I like that dude, man.
Yeah,
like
dude, when he was a lot of people did. But
I voted for him twice.
But I think his fucking, his what do you call that?
I think things were shitty in his second term.
Yeah, right.
He did benefit from 9/11.
Sure. And that's what I'm saying. On his way out, people were kind of over it, and they were ready for a change already. Like, But, dude, Jimmy Carter, man, like, you want to speak ill of the dead, Jimmy Carter was not well spoken of as a president.
Bro.
People fucking hated him as president.
So I was, when he got voted out, Reagan got voted in.
Right.
So he was going for his second term.
Yeah, so he's a one-term president.
He was going for second term. Reagan beat him out. I'm in first grade. And I remember people talking bad about him then.
Yeah. And
I ain't know shit about politics.
And people love him.
And now, right.
Yeah.
Dude, they had a Ivanka Trump, which is Donald's daughter.
Okay.
She was part of his whole, like, his not his campaign, but his, what do you call it? Like, his team when he was in office.
His cabinet or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. They interviewed her, man. She was on a podcast, on the Him and Her Show podcast. And she goes, I love policy and impact. I hate politics. And unfortunately, the two are not separable. It's a very dark, negative business. There's a darkness to that world that I don't really want to welcome into mine. So this is her statement on, like, I guess they asked her, like, yo, you coming back in? Are you going to be part of the team again?
Yeah.
And she was like, nah, I'm out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she was like, I'm out.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she was just like, nah, like, I want to be. Man. Yeah. And I thought that, looking at that, it was she just like, I love policy and impact, but it's almost like, but there's a game going on here. And I don't want no part of it. I
don't want to play that game. Yeah.
I don't want no part of it.
You can see it in how, and not to get too political here, but you could see it in how the current members of the cabinet have been selected. Is that, there's a couple of politicians in there, but there's a lot of people outside of politics.
Yeah.
And I wonder if those are lessons from the first go round of, like, if I pick these people, I'm going to have to play this game and doing that. And, like, I'm really curious to see what happens this sort of term, because you're not, like, we've all known Donald Trump sort of, like, marches to his own, drum. And so, like, now that he doesn't need to pander, now that he doesn't need to win a re-election, now that he doesn't, like, have to cater to a party, like, what happens? Like, what does he actually do now that he doesn't really need? He's like, he can't run for a third term, right? So then, like, what happens now that he doesn't have to, I guess, lean one way or another?
I say you kind of go for broke.
You
right?
do, right?
You just go like, I'm
but other presidents have
is.
had hey, I have to set up the Democratic Party. I have to set up the Republican, right? Like, he, I think, doesn't give a fuck.
No, I don't think he cares.
After he's gone, he doesn't give a fuck, I think, if Republicans win or not, because he's not a true Republican. He's not a true politician.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm really curious to see if what he does, because he's just like, fuck it. I don't even care if the base likes what I do, because I don't need them anymore. And, he's very much a, what can you do for me? And he's like, so... Yep. And he'll pander to, like, the votes, like, he doesn't need to anymore. So I'd be curious to see, like, what happens now that he doesn't have to. Like, does he lean into the shit and then we go, oh, that's how you really felt about, whatever the topic is, or, like, does he just do shit that's way out there that was the total opposite of what he was, because he doesn't need the votes. I'm really fascinated about what this term is like. I've also never seen a president sort of, like, get ousted and then get brought back in, in my lifetime. So, like, I'm really curious to see, like, how that, because we kind of went like, nah, get the fuck out, because if COVID doesn't happen, he does his back to back, right? So it's like, I'm really curious to see now, like, especially in this climate. I think he got voted in because they're sort of sick of certain policies that like a certain party kind of brought on. I think as a collective, I think people were just kind of over the climate, and this is like a reset almost of like, dude, I think this is a reset culturally just as much as it is a reset politically. Like, I think it's like a reset of ideology of, bro, I don't want to pretend to care about shit I don't actually care about because you guys tell me I should or I'm a bad human being. I think this is like a reset in that whole thing. Like,
I feel like it's just like I think that we overcorrect on everything. Mm-hmm. And so it went, and we'll just think we'll say, you know, left and right. It went too far left, and then everybody went like, whoa, wait a minute, like we didn't want to go that far. Yeah. So then we go all the way back. It's like we just go the opposite way, and then hopefully, and again, I'm not saying that he's going to be a good or bad president, right? I'm just going like, I think eventually we'll get back. Like, I felt like Obama was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
But I feel like that. I feel like we have to almost go, because that's what we always do. We just go the other way. Totally, we go all in on one side, and then we go like, oh, wait a minute, that was too much. Let's back it off.
Yeah, dude, I think history is going to be good to Barack Obama. I think history is going to be good to, like certain like I think even Donald Trump to an extent is going to have.
I think it'll be good.
It'll be a turning point.
It'll be interesting to see, man, like 10, 20 years from now, how they speak about him.
Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I'm saying. I think history is going to be different. Yeah. I think history is going to look at Barack Obama differently. I think, history is going to look at Donald Trump differently. I think there's definitely going to say, you know, change politics, like for better or worse. I think proved, we've talked about this on here ad nauseum, but it's like prove that we really don't give a fuck about who you are as a human being, and that can only and I say that to say, like, you can come in with baggage and we don't care. Like, we've proven that. Like, he sort of broke that barrier. And so I think it takes like the one person to do that for a lot of people to go like, okay, now I'm not afraid to get my skeletons, you know, sort of like exposed.
You can kind of be more who you are.
Right. And I think that's refreshing, man. There's something to be said for like not the clean cut perfect human being, you know, that we've always been presented, because we smell that.
They don't believe that.
It's not bullshit.
Yeah, it's not. It is. It's bullshit. It's not even that it's not believable. It's just it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, we all got our shit.
Dude, it's funny, man. I've done this before with people I've interviewed for jobs. Is like there's been people who've come in and they're clean cut, and you know, and the way they behave, and you're just like, I know that's not who you are day to day, right? And I get it. We're all like, our representative shows up to job interviews, right? Not us. And there's been people who have been unapologetically themselves. And I remember thinking, like, you know, a few minutes into the job interview going, oh, I know what I'm getting. I'm in. Like, I know now what's going to be the annoying thing. I know now what's going to be the challenge that I have to coach you through. I know now, but I know what I'm getting, and I'm okay with that, because, like, I can work with that if I can, right? Like, some people have shown me who they are, and I'm like, fuck that. Right, but some people I've been like,
I was gonna say, because I've done that where I go like, oh yeah, I mean, like, you know, congrats for telling the truth, but I don't want that,
dude. But bro, it worked out, right? Because you're gonna find out that truth eventually, and then you end up firing that person anyway, right? And so they saves you both time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why I'm like, it's refreshing when you get like someone's like actual self instead of the representative. Yeah. So I feel like we're going to get more of that, hopefully, in politics, as people care less about looking a certain way, about, you know, maybe presenting themselves in a certain way, or of having to be this. Dude, a politician before, you had to be an SEC team and go undefeated. You know what I mean? Like, it was like you couldn't have a blemish on your record, and now it's like you can. You're allowed to lose to Notre Dame week 4. And still make the playoff. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like now. Is like as you're a politician. So hopefully that politics, that's not gonna fix it, but at least it'll be more entertaining.
How we doing on time, bro?
Dude, we're at hour 4 now.
All right, man. Let's close out with something, man.
We only touched on like 3 things.
I know. Fuck it.
We talk too much. Let's see. Oh, you want to hear about this Florida cop that rear-ended somebody? They want to close somebody, but this cop in Florida rear-ended someone because he was watching porn. in his patrol car.
Hold on. When? Because I've heard that it's like in Florida.
Oh.
Right? You gotta like put in your fucking like ID now, or they cut shit off.
Yeah, you have to put in I think your driver's license now to watch porn on certain sites in Florida. But this guy was watching porn, so he rear ends a car.
Okay.
It gets so good. He rear ends a car in front of him because he's into this porn video. The other car is stopped because there's a school bus there, so they're in a school district, and that's why the other car.
Oh no,
bro! I'm just imagining this cop watching porn on like his laptop, and a fucking school bus full of children right next to him. He went on the big screen. He went on the big screen.
He couldn't use his phone.
He went full.
Did he use a fucking cop laptop to fucking?
That would be amazing.
It has to be.
I wish it has to be, right? Or maybe it was on his phone. Oh,
but how do they know?
Oh, bro, can you imagine? Hey, you crashed. Like, and do they look at the laptop or do they look at the phone? Like, hey, what were you doing? It's like, I was watching Big Titty Bitches 75. And that's some kid in the school bus next to him ratted them out. He was jerking off.
But fuck, so he's watching. So he must be. So he's driving.
He's driving and watching porn, and then rear end someone who stopped at a school bus stopping. The school bus stops and the stop sign comes out. Yeah, so he hits them because they stopped for the school bus.
Fuck. So did he get fired? I guess.
I think he does. Yeah. I think that's what happens here. Is he was fired? Yeah, after crashing his patrol car while driving distracted by porn on his phone. Actually, it does say.
Oh, on his phone.
Yeah, I didn't realize
so
that.
Dude, so like, do they confiscate your phone, give it to the tech guy in the police department, and go like, yo, what happened during the thing? Because I want to say, I've heard that before, where it's like, if you are in, let's say, if you're in an accident, like they have the right to kind of pull your phone logs.
Yeah, were you texting
to see? Right, see, we're texting to see if you were on a fucking site watching something, man.
Do you just throw your phone into the fucking like you can that fucking
phone?
Like phone?
What are you talking about?
I don't even use one of those.
What's that?
Bro, you know how wild that has to be? Like, if you have to admit to that or they see, like,
back in the day, you used to drop the drugs out the window. Now you just fucking slam the phone down
a fucking drain. Like, it took it, but bro, having to admit, or can you imagine it just comes up to like, hey man, so we went through your phone and it turns out like during the time of the accident, you and you got to be like,
right.
I had porn on, but I wasn't watching it. I was focused on that part.
I was trying to go to Cornhub because I was interested in doing some tortillas, but I mistaked the C for the P. Like, what do you say,
like
bro?
TikTokers trying to put porn through and they just say corn.
You're like, so then why did you go into fucking feet porn?
Yeah.
Why did you then click on?
It would be amazing if he's looking up like police porn. Like the ones fucking cops pulling over people.
He was trying to set up his next move.
Yo, how easy is your job that you can just roll around and just watch porn? Or do you do that to maybe you have to do that to like even out, like you just dealing with so much awful shit that you're like, man, I need to watch something on a happy spectrum.
Rub one out so I could fucking continue out.
Nah, you can't rub one out in the middle of the day. You need to be aggressive as a cop. Maybe not. Actually, maybe you don't want to be. Maybe less people get choked out. Choke that chicken, you won't be choking suspect. Oh fuck, bro! Yo, by the time this airs, TikTok might be gone. So,
that's right.
I gave y'all the run of where to follow us. If TikTok's not here on the 20th, don't follow us on there. Yeah.
Actually, we had that as a story, but I'm actually more interested to see what happens. So we'll save it.
Does it get sold? Okay.
Yeah,
we got to talk about next. Yeah, because next week we might be like, follow us everywhere but TikTok.
Yep.
Actually, Tumblr's a thing again, and then who knows? We might fucking just be bringing up old platforms. Snapchats, we might be coming back on there.
I bet. So tell them where they can find us
at the Come Up Podcast
for this week.
For this week at the Come Up Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, the Come Up Podcast on YouTube. At Carbon FP Pod on X, at Carbon Food Podcast on TikTok for now, and then Yeah, all your favorite audio platforms. And then on the socials, man, if you guys can just follow, comment, like, do whatever. That's like the best way you can help support right now and help us grow and help us get to the next stage of whatever this ends up being, man. Just show some love on there in any way you can. You can comment and tell us how much you hate us. Just comment.
Oh yeah. That works too. We like those too.
I'm fully aware that I have a very hateable face and voice.
I'm pretty sure half the people that see me on a daily basis think I'm an asshole.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, going back to your thing before, I say this on here all the time. I love trolling people who are like, man, I didn't know Sean talked that much. I just be like, he probably doesn't like you.
Yeah, you right. Yo, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. I saw this shit this week. Simon Sinek, motivator, fucking businessman, book writer. Anyway, look him up. Good guy. He had this thing on friendship, and he goes, it takes 8 minutes of time for a friend to feel like they're not alone. And in this clip that he had, he was basically saying that he had a friend that reached out to him, but in a manner in which the friend would normally reach out to him. And he didn't know it was sort of an emergency. He didn't know that he needed them. And so when they got to talk, the friend told him, like, yo, like, I did I had this hard time. And he goes like, oh, why didn't you hit me up? And he was like, yeah, I did. Like, look at your shit. And he goes, but yeah, you did, but you said what you always said, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he goes, I didn't think anything was going on. So they made this agreement that, like, yo, like, if you need me, fucking use like this code word, and I forget what it was. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But the point was, like, if you need your people, like, make sure they know that you need them. Like, I think you and I do this shit, and it's fairly recent. Yeah. You and I will go like, yo, you good?
Yeah.
Like, right? If we sense something is kind of like off,
yeah,
we'll be like, yo, you good? You know, and that's kind of the quick thing to be like, yeah, like, yeah, I'm good, or just having an off day, man, or yo, I need to hit you up on this shit, right? Like,
yeah,
we got that. But
yeah, and I think I've told you on here, like, you did that within the last few months.
Yeah.
On a time where I felt like I needed it, and I was like, "Fuck, yeah, no, for sure, man." Yeah.
And it was like I just felt a different energy from you over the text, and so I did that, and so it's just like, you know, if I don't do that shit, you gotta tell me, like, yo, nigga, I need to hit you up on this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because there may be times where I may not read that. And so for the rest of you out there, like, talk to your people, and if we all need each other sometimes, and there's nothing better than community. So, like, if you need something from your people, tell them. You can't just go like, yo, how you doing? You know, like, you gotta fucking let them know. And it says 8 minutes. 8 minutes of time from a friend, just to feel like you're not alone.
We'll scroll through fucking IG and TikTok and all that other stuff I told you how to follow. We'll scroll through that for 8 minutes every fucking.
That's all your people need, bro.
Probably, man. Yeah.
That's all we need.
And like, it's funny, man. You'll even do that sometimes, like where like you know, we'll both work like before this, and you'll be like, hey man, do you need like a minute or two to yourselves? And I'll be like, no man, this is the fucking minute or two that I need right now. Like, no, just pull up, because you'll be like, yo, you need a break before I pull up or something like that, and like, and you'll ask me, I'll be like, nope, just come up, man, because like, this is what I need. Like, I don't want to be, you know, like, I don't need the time alone. I want the time with a friend to talk shit and all that stuff, man. So yeah, man, check on your people.
Absolutely. And as always, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.